This is regards to the current status of Wildstar as a game. A lot of people are bitching and complaining that the game was broken or that it lacked content, which in some cases I do agree with. But consider this. Everyone talks about the PvP and how that was broken and it was horrible. Like, I think it was 1800 gear or 1500 gear. People were just being completely shitted on by certain gear built for PvP or PvE. I'm not level capped yet. I wasn't level capped with this video, as you could see, so I wouldn't know anything about that. But I have think about this: World of Warcraft has heirloom gear, which is basically hard-earned gear you earn for your character account wide. I've played WoW. I've played WoW from Wrath of the Lynch King to Mr. Pandara, and plan on playing it on Warlords of Draenor. But a lot of people expected this to be a WoW killer. The game never said it was a WoW killer. The only game that said that commercial based was Rift. You saw how that turned out. Everyone expecting everything to be WoW because most people that play MMOs, they're afraid of innovation. They're afraid of change. I know I was. I've had games like Guild Wars 2, Scarlet Blade, let's say Terra. And the only reason I came back to WoW is because most of my friends played it and I knew what to do. But as far as Wildstar, is the game dead? No. I'd say it's on minor life support with a good chance of survival. That's what I would say. People complaining and bitch way too much about what a game should be when in reality there's no such thing as a perfect game. All of that is opinionated. Any person can tell you why they like certain games a certain way, like SWTOR or Star Wars: The Old Republic, which I believe is the worst free-to-play model to ever exist. But a lot of people enjoy it. A lot of people have fun with it. And like I didn't say in the beginning of this conversation, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But is Wildstar dead? In my opinion, no. Carbine Studios is a new studio. This is their first crack at an MMO, and I believe they did a damn good job with it. If you don't like the game, if you don't like the gameplay, just don't subscribe to it. Don't play it. But I'm gonna name some things this game has over a couple of MMOs. That is something to consider. Player housing off the bat, right away. Player housing. Now, in the press conferences and one of the E3 conferences, one of the guys said that, okay, your player housing will not be instanced. It is instanced. But considering where your player house is, would that really even matter? It's in the fucking sky. When are you going to see it? Dungeons. People were complaining ever since Cataclysm, WoW has gone soft. And it has. LFRs, stuff like that. Medium grade dungeons. It just became like a face roll over your keyboard. Wrath had a hell of a lot harder dungeons. It took more skill, in my opinion, in Wrath than it did in Cataclysm. But your dungeons here, they're extremely hard. They're extremely challenging. Let's go for fetch quests. Some of the quests in this game are not fetch quests. Instead, you get the quest, you complete it, and you just press C, because there's like a little microphone thing, a little transmitter, and that's it. There is no running back and forth continuously unless you miss something. You can complete it there. Content. Vanilla WoW did not have as much content as this had when it came out, but you don't see people complaining about that because it's Blizzard. They can get away with that. But God forbid a brand new studio that's been working on this for a while, granted, but they do something wrong. Wildstar isn't perfect. It's gonna have mistakes. It's gonna have flaws. It's gonna have bugs. Every game does, especially on launch. A lot of people are complaining that it had a rocky launch. I'm sorry, I was able to get into the servers all waiting for 24-hour or 48-hour queue times. The only problem I had, if any of you guys watched Wildstar bugs, is because I SLI'd a brand new game that wasn't optimized for SLI. That was the only problem I had. Other than that, I was able to get in, I was able to play, I got early access, so on and so forth. I had a good time. Another thing Wildstar does that most games don't do, it doesn't take itself too seriously. A lot of the people are bitching, complaining, moaning, oh my god, this game's too cartoony, oh my god, this game's animation, blah, blah, blah. Well, don't play it. It's very simple. If you don't like it, stop giving your money to them. I mean, people just make things harder than what it really is. You don't like the content? Don't play it. If you don't like a certain raid, don't play the raid. If you don't like a certain dungeon, don't play the fucking dungeon. Play something else. So is Wildstar dead? In my opinion, no. It isn't. It isn't dead. Because people haven't even gave it a year. A guy commented on one of the I commented on something of Wildstar before, and another guy commented back and said it didn't take a year for it to fail. Oh, I'm sorry, I like to reevaluate everything. It didn't take a year. Well, goddamn it, you didn't try. Because it's gonna take a year to see how the game progresses. Look how Diablo 3 ended up. Diablo 3 had a horrible launch, had horrible content, had auction houses. But when Reaper of Souls came out, which was its first expansion, it turned all that around. It took away the auction. It took away the shit that people didn't like. It made it a better game. It gave it new features like the Nemesis system. Well, for the PS3 or the consoles. But it did that. It made loot more accessible besides buying it on a fucking auction house, which basically made it pay to win. So Wildstar isn't dead in my opinion. I didn't expect this to be WoW. I didn't expect too many great things of it. I had a lot of hype over it. That's true, but I had to also take into consideration when games come out, they're not exactly perfect, and they're going to have problems. That's when balancing and years of experience and player feedback takes into account. So no, it isn't dead. Now I'm going to name a couple things that Wildstar does perfectly. As you can see, there's PvP going on right now. And this is old PvP. This is before Espers could move while casting their first spell, or telekinetic strike. PvP is amazing. The controls are amazing. The classes, in my opinion, even though they're just vanilla classes like Rogue, Stalker, or something like that, they're amazing. If you just take the time to learn it, you can be very good at it. The scaling on higher level battlegrounds, I haven't got there yet. So, I'm not quite sure about that. But so far, I'm having a blast. The gameplay is fun. It's different. It just I tap target something and do an animation. It's not that. It's more than that. Another thing which I'm going to discuss is the music. Alright, now to the music segment. The music on this game is amazing. It's perfect for the environment that you're in. Like right now, I'm doing what is it? A story quest. Like everyone gets this quest. But the music is perfect. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to just have it play in the background, or I'm going to stop talking and just have you listen to the music in the background. You see, what Wildstar really does get right is what matters. It's got good music, good gameplay. It's a solid buy. Like, and it's got housing off the bat. Now, I play Arcade as well. I still haven't figured out how to get a house because I don't guess I'm not high enough. But Arcade, your house is in the world. That's nice and all, but as you can see, this is a sky plot. It's in the sky. It being instant should not matter. I mean, when is someone just gonna go by your house and be like, "Hey, that's Popful's house over there. Let's go visit it"? No, they have to go to their house and then have you as a neighbor. You can also grow things at your house. You can farm things at your house. Like just recently, you just seen me pass something that looked like a mining vine. That's for my relic hunting stuff. And this is the interior of the house. Not all interior of houses are the same. They're different. I made this the way this is. It might not be perfect, but it's just right for me. And it took a lot of time and effort and money. WoW did not have that. Although it was going to be pushed into WoW on Classic World of Warcraft, they didn't put it in. Now, I'm not saying which one's better, which one's worse, but I'm just pointing out things that this game has that a lot of games don't have right now. This was all paid by with in-game currency. I didn't have to spend anything. And this is another character's house that I own. Well, this is not my house. It's another house from another character. See how your whole landscape could be different. The way you put things could be different. Although I would love, this is just me being picky, to have the ability to add music, or certain music like PSU 2 did. But it's no real biggie. But this is the player housing. The next thing I'm really gonna discuss is the dungeons. People want to hard dungeons. I got a clip for you, and this is a regular dungeon, not a veteran dungeon. I think there are veteran dungeons on here. I'm not sure. But another bad part. Alright, one bad part of this game. Although it gives you a shit ton of stuff to do, although it gives you classes, unlike WoW, WoW gives you a faction, a race, a class, a spec, and a profession. Wildstar gives you a faction, a race, a class, a path, and I guess you would say a spec. So in all, it's the same shit. But there is a bad part to this. Wildstar only has 2 dungeons that you get earlier on in the levels. The adventures go on forever. There's like 4 adventures, 5 adventures I can go on. But there's only 2 dungeons. Now, with that being said, the dungeons are they're gratifying, they're hard, they're challenging. Like the next clip I'm going to show you. Well, I mentioned dungeons, so let's get to a dungeon. This is a dungeon during like what, the first maybe month or so of the game. So yeah, the dungeons are hard, but there's only one drawback. I haven't got to raids yet, but there's only 2 dungeons. 2 dungeons. 2. And the gear that drops isn't, you're better off finding gear in adventures and stuff like that, because adventures keep going. Even right now, as I speak, there's 2 dungeons. But the good thing about this dungeon, or the dungeons, there are phases like a raid. If any of you guys remember, like Wrath of the Lich King, when you did ICC or Ice Crown Citadel, whatever you want to call it, or the Burning Crusade raids and the Black Temple, some of those raids had phases, but those are raids. These dungeons have phases. So that kind of says a lot. And just think what might happen in the future if more dungeons come out. If you can uncover more dungeons, like right now in this phase, we have to grab these green balls. The more green balls we have, that sounds so wrong. The more green balls we have on us, the more damage we do. But the more green spheres or orbs that go around him, the more damage he does to us, and the more protection he has around us. And this is just me being ballsy, because I did this one time and I got away with it. But this is how hard it is. Four killed me, I believe. So I hope this kind of enlightens you guys on my opinion, just my opinion, on where the game is headed. I think the game is heading for something big. I think the game has a lot of potential. It has its flaws, it has its drawbacks, but this isn't even the first year. No expansion has been uncovered. No No other setting has been uncovered. No other races, classes has been discussed. This is just the first year. So I hope this enlightens you. And just remember, you're never going to get the game you truly want. Because it doesn't exist. And if you don't like something, then don't play it. And don't waste your money on it.